Hey, Jess.
Hi, Allison. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a little bit like half-mast today, but I've had better days, so I'm really happy about that.
Oh, me too. Fantastic.
Have you had a good day so far?
Hmm.
Good.
Yeah, I have a couple good day. Yeah, so better than yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Finally got our project. We're gonna start next week on our one project. So
Oh, that's amazing, Jessie. Yay.
yeah, so that's
Oh,
the
I'm
guy.
really happy.
Yeah, the guy said yes, July 7th of last year. The
Yeah.
executive, buddy of mine,
Okay.
executive, and so then the team engaged me in November, and first week of June we'll treat the first wells.
Oh, oh
So
man, that's fantastic, Jessie.
I told him, I said, well, what's beautiful about it, meaning I've only had, he says he wants to take it big, and that's what they say, once we prove it. Yeah. And
Yeah,
so that's, they're talking about already doing that.
exactly. That's amazing, 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 amazing.
Yeah.
It really, really is. That's so good.
So
It's the best start.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
honestly, you could not ask for a better start than that.
Well, except for that it was quicker.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
So that landed. And then yesterday I stumbled into the credit that I needed that
Great.
basically shows how I can apply for it, how I can get it, and
Wonderful.
what it sets up. And so just before here, what it sets up is that our customers, if they wanted to be included on this, have to commit to a certain number of wells every year.
That's amazing. Great.
That's great for our business because our business has never been able to do that.
Wow.
And I go to the customers and say, if you want a minimum $500,000 credit, you have to do this amount of work. And none of them are doing that level yet.
That's why you had to wait.
I know. I don't know. Doesn't mean I like it.
Sorry. I'm just trying to make you feel better.
I love you. Just trying to
Oh,
make me feel better. Yeah.
yeah.
So in a way, I've got a way to produce an auction now with people that, so I can, what it works out to is that for every, I have to apply for this project for every field.
Okay.
And so what that means is I have 9 fields in which we can, the bigger ones, I went for the bigger ones, 9 fields that I would put this in. And so go to them and say, look, we have to hit this number for you to even qualify for it. And so do you want to do it? And they can get that credit at every field that they have operations. And if I don't get enough from that company, then I go to another company and say, well, you have to commit to a certain number so I can aggregate enough of them together to make it work. What's beautiful is they have to commit.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Jenny.
Hey, how are you doing,
Hi,
guys?
Gigi.
Just,
Hey,
just listening
Jessie.
to really good news. Really, really
Oh,
good news. Yeah.
wonderful. What's the good news?
Hello, Jess.
The one thing is that the project, I have a start date for the project that we've been working on for a year with a new customer. So we're going to start next week.
Awesome.
Prove that
Yeah.
up, and they're already talking about scaling. And so our big opportunity is to scale it. And so
Oh, cool.
So that's exciting to be there with a new customer, go through their whole process. And then there's one more process after we prove it's successful. It's a process that we have to go through to get fully approved. But they're already talking as if, let's take it farther, even their bosses. And then the guy that said yes to me is their boss's boss. Like he's the top guy.
Awesome.
Almost. Maybe not quite the top, but he's up there. And he says, I'll take as much as you can give me. So
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah, so that's a good win for us there. Now just perform like we typically do. So that's as long as there's no hiccups along the way, we'll do that. And then I was telling Allison, I've been running through the numbers here. I found the program in which this qualifies, found how to do it, how to go about it, all the numbers, like verified it. A little bit of a gray area, I'd call it. But if they fight me, I'm going to come back and bite them pretty hard. I'm going to sue them over what they're doing. And so I got that. But what it does is that it forces the customer's hand to commit to a certain number of wells that I have never had before.
Wow, that's awesome.
What I mean is I've never had the commitment. Every day it's been, will we do work? Will we not do work? Will we do work? Will we not do work? And here they will have to commit to a higher level than they've committed to since 2014.
Whoa, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Those are the two wins that I celebrate today. And Allison's just picking on me, telling me that's why it couldn't go any faster. And I said, well, it sure could have gone a lot faster. So there's a lesson of timing and mastery.
Oh God.
And it had been starting to really fucking irritate me.
Well, I am glad that we've gotten to the point where we can laugh about it. That's really nice. I must admit.
One more creation, and that closes quicker. Then I'll be on some pretty solid ground. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Oh yeah.
So I say I found out most of that today. And so, yes, today's better than yesterday.
Ooh, what a nice weekend celebration.
I was just going to say, what are you going to do to celebrate this?
Good question.
Yeah,
I
you
wasn't
must do
going
something.
to.
Yeah, no, you must. You really must. This is big.
This is big. And even when it
Yeah.
isn't big, we need to celebrate the wins.
Exactly.
We need to get in the practice of celebrating the wins.
Yep. Do something special to market. Right?
Yeah, that's tough.
Ask the kids what they think you should do.
Yeah, that's a good one. We'll include them on it so that they know that we're all celebrating something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think that's important.
yeah, so that's mine. That's my celebration of mastery today. Mastery of setting in. There's more of a story that'll come eventually. Just not ready to tell it all yet, but it'll be part of the holding in the tension, not reacting to it, not responding to it, staying as centered as in the end result, even when it's not easy.
Yeah.
We all have versions of it, right? But
Exactly.
so.
But that's the secret, I think.
Bingo. Bingo, bango to that push, right? When we're pushing it, when we want it even more, that grasping, when Allison, you've brought that grasping in. Structure in the different domain, in the different dimensions, dimensional structure. That is what this is.
Yeah. Holding the tension is that for sure.
Aware that it's in different dimensions.
That's right.
Mm.
Current realities in this low 3D, for the most part, always grounded in that. And it's like, that's why the current reality.
Yeah. And for me, I don't know about for you, Jenny, but what helps me when I get into a funk about something, especially now, I think over this last year, it's kind of been reignited for me. It's just that thing about remembering all the different, as you would say, the coordinates involved, and that if you don't push, but you're committed, as Lynn would say, then you ride that wave really well, right to the last bit of
Yes.
it landing on the beach, you know.
Mhm.
Yes. And
Because there is so much in every single moment when we go beyond our senses. We allow ourselves to drop deep enough, you know, there's so much that's going on.
up deep enough so that we can go far enough out to spread it to help others see the direction, right? But not force it in either. It's just like open the pathway, open the bridge without even the conversation with people.
Exactly.
AST.
Yeah.
Practice,
and
that
even
high level conversation with people. What would you energetic conversation?
yes, and that energetic conversation is, for me, it's just about when you are able to be a better reflection of what you are as you go along, people notice that and they become curious. You know, how do you do that? And then that's an attraction.
It's a secret sauce.
And say that again, Jenny.
It's a secret sauce.
It's the secret sauce. Yeah.
So a customer would pay me $805,000, and they'd get $425,000 in return as a credit.
Wow.
Whoa.
If that's not a win, then I don't know what is. Sure.
I had to do the quick math on it because it was like, oh, that's 50%.
Yeah.
I'm not charging enough.
You're not.
You definitely aren't. Change it quickly.
That one I ran it with, we've already actually it's $1,000 less, so they're going to end up with even a better opportunity than that.
Yeah.
That's the new one, but
Yeah, but it's good, you know. Then they're motivated to. I mean, when they got the results, then they're even more motivated. You've got a loyal following, right?
that's just that credit will apply to as much money as they spend with us in that field will be a 50% credit. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so cool. Where else can you get a deal like that?
Another new breakthrough, another new, well, and they make their money back. I mean, that's not included the 400% they make on top of it already.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't even account for the oil that they make.
Yeah.
First of all, the offer, there wasn't anything that produced that high of a return out there. And now I just give away half the price. Well, I don't give away half the price, but and what's interesting is that rather than that credit, they have to pay taxes on that credit. So that's the amount of taxes that they reduce.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's my Friday.
I don't think we can top that one.
Yeah, well, no need to. That's like, let's land that baby in there so we can spread the wealth.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, I'm really so happy to hear this for so many reasons. You know, I mean, this is such a big breakthrough.
And I'll even like a big breakthrough for me. Even like I had the numbers, I just didn't have a structure to put them in. You know, I ran them different ways, and then it was like landed it. It's like click, click, click.
Oh, that's great. It's going to be very interesting to see the route that this takes. This is one for history books, Jesse. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
That's big change.
You got to convince the regulators that that's the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. But now at least you've got a chance, you know, it's so much better when it's on the ground.
It's the way they worded it gives me the opportunity. They say a reduce emissions by an innovative production method.
They actually said that.
Yeah. And then they classify it by solar, steam, and heat generation. So reducing the emissions from heat, which is why I come in and say our product replaces steam. Replace it. How else are you going to drop your emissions and make more oil? Well, people say you can't, which is why they wrote it that way. Yeah, there's my business partner. Wow, that was exactly what I was looking for. I said, yeah, me too.
That's awesome. It's like Aikido with business.
Yes.
Aikido. What is Aikido?
Oh, Aikido is like a martial arts where you take the force coming at you and you redirect it back.
Yeah.
Beautifully done, Jess.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thanks for your help.
Not sure I did anything to help, but okay, I'll take wherever you want to give me credit. Yeah,
exactly, Gigi. We'll take it.
Well, it's recorded.
I'll just take a 10%. That sounds good. 2% would work.
Great. No, I think you'll be happy with even less.
Yeah, even less. That's true.
Well, that's my point, right? Allison, it says like, this becomes game changers. People will be like, well, how did you do it? And it's like, well, we look back and say, that's the process that got us here.
Yeah.
That's the recordings, right? That's the assets that are already in place. And it won't be like anything that people looked for, but the point will be they're wanting to look for it. They want it. So we give it to them.
Yeah. And they start asking. Yep.
That's what happens when you become famous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or tell a good story.
Or tell a good story. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
what we're in the middle of, mastering a good story, a good creation story, how to create.
Hmm.
That's like the ultimate of creating the life you love, when you can learn those skills
Yeah.
and just keep repeating them.
And that's what people want, is the demonstration of it.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear you talk about it. They don't want to hear about the webinar. Yes, all that'll get there. They want to know about the nuts and bolts in between of the shit when it didn't, before it really took off, before it went wherever it went. That's where the true information is.
Exactly.
Mhm.
I mean, that's my, it's like it's not when you get there, it's how you got there.
It's how you got there. Absolutely.
They want to see the times that it was shitty.
Any of
Yeah.
those.
Right? We all talk about them, right? But then we can point to going through it.
Yeah. Because how you got from A to B, that's what's important. That's what changes how you move from one level of functioning to another.
Yep. And all started with the morning sessions.
Yes, it did. Although for me, it started before that.
Mhm.
There was a big push, no doubt. But it started, for me, it started with the way in which you ask questions and hold your practice sessions, you know. Jenny, did you share that one testimonial that you got from your practice session with Jess yet?
I thought I did. From Paula Sonley?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you recall it, Jess, or do I need to send it?
How long ago?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, a while ago. Yeah, then
Yeah.
I've read one. So if you've sent me more than one, then I wouldn't, but I'd say.
Yeah, no, then it was that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was that one.
And I mean, I remember that session so clearly because she disappeared kind of after that session. And I kept on thinking, what's happened? Why isn't she coming back? And then shortly after that, it was December break, you know, because it was close to the Christmas break. So I
Mhm.
was really glad when she connected with you again, because I'd reached out to her in my team, but I hadn't heard anything back from her.
Well, she was going through, the creation thing. And in Chris's thing, there was a financial constraint. And so she's a nurse, and, he said, well, go back to nursing.
Mm.
And, since there was so much fear and angst around financing.
Mm.
So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and
But,
I liked that he did that
yeah,
because it's, it's the one part about him that I did appreciate, because I saw that a number of times where I guess it's because the thinking was the same as mine, but it was also just very pragmatic.
yeah,
Which I appreciate. It's really important. I've seen so much of people pushing and saying, no, if you do that, then then you're never going to get your end result, blah, blah, blah. And that's a lot of nonsense as far as I'm concerned. And she got her certification, hey, Jenny. It was just shortly afterwards that she went and wrote the test, and she got it. And that was her third attempt, you know, which was also so nice. It was really good.
Which, correlates to our letting go. I keep thinking about this word, relief. Like when people have physical challenges, they want relief, but also financial relief,
Absolutely.
and emotional relief. It's like when you can let go and just go, kind of like what Jesse did a little minute ago. Like the release there, you've been holding your breath for so long.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Boy, oh boy. So funny because, Jesse said it's taken so long, and I was thinking, during the week, I was thinking, oh my God, this is probably going to take a little while more, but it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And there it was today.
Yeah, that's really incredible. And that's like the lesson is like, you don't see, you just keep trusting and staying in the tension.
Exactly.
You don't have outward evidence. And that's the whole point.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just showing up.
Yeah.
And trusting the process.
Yep.
Well, I mean, that sounds so simple, but so freaking hard sometimes.
It is. That's the biggest challenge, I think. And that's what I think takes being able to navigate those different levels of density that we exist in.
Yes.
Right.
It's trusting the process and trusting yourself in the process. Because I probably will still question it, and was questioning it. I didn't know how much worse it had to get.
Yeah. I know. That's what I was thinking. It can get a lot
worse.
Too.
It can get a lot worse.
Oh,
but I sure don't want it to.
Exactly, Jesse. That's the thing. And that's why it is so difficult to sit in those situations.
Yeah. And I don't have it as bad as many.
Yes, but I mean, this has got an impact in terms of how the world's going to transition its energy systems. And if we don't have a transition, we have a ginormous disaster on our hands.
Well, we're seeing how it's unraveling, where people are like, oh, I'm not going to hit that now. Mother effers. And it's all in the thinking about what we're talking about right here. All of it is. It's a new thinking that's got to shake out the old thinking. And it's what we've been working.
Yeah. It's going from the individual to the collective. It's going from patriarchal to what? I don't know what one would call it. Equal, I guess.
Collective.
Yeah.
Go for your passions, right? I mean, it's like, find what it is, uncover it, stay in the tension of it, hit it. collective passions. It's collecting passions, collectively creating.
Mm.
It's the big companies are saying they want it. They just don't know what it looks like.
Mm.
So you guys are right. You are right in the front of it. And it sure doesn't feel like it. I know.
Not at this point.
Yes, it feels a little in transition and under construction.
Yeah.
But that's why we've said we're so glad that we're doing it together, hey, Jenny?
Absolutely. Well, and like each iteration, we're learning and going deeper. So,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
you can even as small as these little steps are, you can see the progress.
Yeah, definitely. And also just to, once again, to hold all of that in your awareness, in one's awareness, you know,
Mhm.
the framework, then the sequencing, and the outcome. And the outcome is the end point. So, Jenny, I put in Eternal Triangle, the link to that thing I was talking to you about the other day in terms of the change triangle, this
Mhm.
psychologist that developed
Okay,
this
I haven't been
little
on my
model. Yeah, no,
phone.
don't,
Okay,
no, don't
Hillary
worry.
Jacobs Hendel. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I only sent it like about 10 minutes before we started. But I'd spoken about it to you the other day, right? And then I was talking about it to Jessie last week as well. And it was interesting because I haven't looked at it for a while, and I went back to look at it, and it was like new information to me, and I thought, oh, is this what she had? So it was so interesting to me because I did a workshop with her last year, 2022, I think so. Yeah. And I like it at that point I didn't feel like anything really new for me, but I appreciated the simplicity of it. And also because she wants to take it into schools, which I'm sure she has done by now. So the 3 points of the triangle are this. So she's got her triangle upside down. So you've got left and right corners with a straight bar at the top. In your left corner, you've got your defenses. In your right-hand corner, you've got what we call secondary emotions. I can't remember now whether she's got it as a secondary emotion. She might call it something else. And then the third point at the bottom is the primary emotion. And she, on the first page there, she explains, you know, just by talking about herself, what happens when she's got to write a blog. What happens with her on an experiential level, and then what does she do? And one part of what she does is a defense, and the other part of what she does is to have the secondary emotion. And then if she asks herself, what lies underneath a secondary emotion, because she knows by now for herself that both of those 2 points are detractors from experiencing the primary emotion. And then when she takes herself to the experience of the primary emotion, what does she do? She breathes and she tells herself it's okay, because she looks at her coordinates, right? She's not being eaten by a lion, kind of thing. You know, it was so interesting for me, because then also what I immediately recognized was how perfectly the AST fits in with it, because it's about then going into the body, because she talks about it. How do you recognize what these are? By knowing where it sits in your body. So she brings all of that into just this simple little triangle model. So it's really, it's really valuable. It's really, really valuable. And I mean, Jess, I said to you a while ago, I thought that it would be a good match for our work. So I'm going to think about more in terms of how to strategize, because she reads all her emails. She answered me last year personally, wasn't an assistant, which I thought to myself, how the hell is this woman going to keep this up? But, we'll see.
Beautiful.
Mm.
Good connections.
Yeah.
Go board connections. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Because if we could bring structure into that, can you imagine?
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah, working with high school kids and saying, what are you doing? Are you, spinning your wheels in the mud, or are you in a creative structure? And this is how to do it. I mean, my God. I mean, I think if I could have taught Kalis this, how much easier her 20s would be for her.
The younger we teach it, the better the less worse habits they have.
Yeah.
The easier to shake them out. And the older we are, the harder it is.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And I think, this structure is all of it. Structure, awareness of structure, And I do have to say, Charge is pretty brilliant.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is.
Agreed.
I mean, Jessie, what I was thinking about is that her definition of charge is that secondary emotion. So, and yours is more fundamental, because you look at it as a positive or a negative, right? With hers, which is psych language, secondary emotions are anger, shame, guilt. I can't remember the others now, but those are the three main ones.
Embarrassment, or is that?
Yes, embarrassment, absolutely. Yeah. And I was thinking, it's interesting because for me, my experience in myself and in working with clients is that shame is so subtle. It's a really difficult one to catch. Much more difficult than I think any other emotion. So, yeah, so that was one thing about it. But charge definitely simplifies it.
So that's how it worked for me. It was simple. It's because I could tie all sorts of words to a feeling, not only to feeling, but to thoughts. And that's the
Exactly.
worst one. That's the worst one, because those thoughts are just, they'll get you out. They get you out of your pickle. The thoughts get you out of the pickle, and it takes you nowhere, just out of the tension.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And then what you've left under the carpet, as it were, has got more time to fester, right?
Yeah, and show itself again.
And twice as big.
Usually if you don't look at it the first time.
Yeah.
And I can charge for me just doesn't carry the baggage as all the other words do. So simple explanation.
Easy to
Simple.
win.
Simple, yeah, easy to win, but sometimes you need another set of eyes when you're going
Yes.
through it.
The easiest is the default.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what someone else helps with, is to call you on your default.
Mm-hmm.
We'll call it your bullshit. Your bullshit is the easiest.
So you were saying, Allison, that if kids in high school could learn this concept of recognizing where they feel the feeling in their body, and then what's behind that feeling. Is that what I got with the primary and secondary? Because I don't have the psychology background.
Yeah, so your secondary emotions are an indication that when you catch them, rather than believing that they are an entity unto themselves, and understanding that there's a primary emotion which is giving them fuel, you go to the primary emotion and learn to be with that. Does that make sense, right?
Can you, Grace just walked in. I made her some cauliflower bites. Can you explain, because she's going to be a counselor. I wanted to know if there was a simple way she could help.
Oh, yeah, Ginny, just like go with her through the website. She'll get it. She'll
Okay.
understand it. Honestly, it's so well written. And there are a whole lot of videos on the side where she explains it more. But the essence of it is to be able to have resources and to be able to sit with that primary emotion, which is often and usually boils down to fear. I'm trying to think what else. Sadness. Fear, sadness, and joy. Those are the primary emotions. We don't usually have problem with joy, right? So we're looking at the emotions that have got a negative charge.
Okay. And then beneath the fear, sadness, and joy, or the fear and sadness, is perhaps shame, embarrassment.
No, yeah.
I don't understand the secondary. That's what I was trying to understand.
Okay, so what we mean by primary is that's actually the root.
Oh, okay.
Primary emotion is the root. The secondary emotion is the one that flounces around and gets all the attention, like anger, or like being embarrassed, or feeling.
Okay, now it's making sense. So if someone's angry, the root of it might be, what are they afraid of?
Exactly.
Okay, now I get it.
And so she wrote a book, Jenny. She called it, "Is This Really Depression?" so that she could get people to start realizing that if they're feeling depressed, there's a lot that's underneath that can be worked with. They
Okay.
don't have to stay with the label of being depressed.
Yeah, because that's almost like I am my identity versus
Exactly.
feel.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
You are depressed
Yeah,
versus you're feeling.
that's right.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
What age group is she working with, Gigi?
I don't know.
I don't know yet. Probably younger kids from what I've talked to
Okay.
Pippi about.
Okay. Younger kids are easier in terms of emotions, right? Because you can just, hi, Grace. You just speak directly to the primary emotion and they understand it.
Okay. I think I'm feeling good about it so far. I think I've been able
Good.
to connect with kids, at least I didn't have to do it a lot at my job, but like people would bring their kids in and like sometimes I just like joke around with them and make them laugh and it was cute. Sometimes they'll just say funny stuff. So I like little kids. They're fun.
I think you're going to be really, really good with them. And I think you're going to have the most wonderful time. I really do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you know why I'm saying that, Grace? I'm just all of a sudden realizing that I should.
I'm listening.
I can just have me on. She doesn't want to be on.
That's
Like,
okay.
the glitch thing is a little weird.
Why do you think I'm saying that to you, that I think you're going to have the most wonderful time?
Because it's accurate.
Oh, good.
Setting
Wonderful.
an intention.
Yeah, great. Fantastic.
Because you might be a
Yeah,
little bit psychic too. You see my future.
I don't think so. I'll tell you though, just to add a little bit, because you've been able to become so comfortable in being in your present state, and especially with your joy.
Thank you.
And there's nothing more valuable than that in terms of being with children.
Yeah.
And
Thank
like
you.
I said, I think the younger ones especially, I mean, the teenagers, they might need it more, but they fight it more.
Mhm. Yeah.
The
Well,
little kids don't fight it, they look for it.
I think my experience being a camper has given me a lot of insight, and just being away from camp for a while and then coming back to it, it's going to be
Yeah.
a different experience, but I have a lot more knowledge and insight that I can share with people. Obviously, I'm not going to be telling little kids, set your intention and do all this crazy stuff yet. But
No, but
I
you'll
think-
know for yourself, right?
yeah, I'll know for myself. I think knowing what it's like to be homesick and
Yeah.
be away from your family for so long, I
Yeah.
can help the campers get acclimated.
Yeah.
And it's an overnight camp, and if there are like new campers and they've never been even like outside of the state
Absolutely.
before, it's going to be a big change. So just holding that space in my heart for Grace, which I was doing my oracle cards today, and that came up. Oh, you want to hear
Oh,
something?
wonderful. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, tell me
Wait.
what the theme of.
Allison, you're the one that suggested the Kyle Gray cards. Yes. Okay. So I was using them today, and it's like my favorite Oracle deck because it's the first one I ever bonded with. And I went a little crazy on Etsy, and I got myself a Lumerian seed crystal, and I was like, okay, I'm setting the intention. If I pull the Lumerian seed codes card, then I'm supposed to work with this crystal right now. and I started shuffling it. One of the cards that fell was the angelic frequency card, and I did like a meditation with angels like earlier on in the day. So I was like, okay, that's confirmation that I'm in a good place right now. And the first card that I picked up after I finished shuffling was the Lumerian Seed Codes card. And I was like, this,
Oh my God.
it was so cool. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like psychic. It's exciting. So it was divine intervention, and I worked with it. It was really cool.
It's great, Grace. It's really good. I'm so glad you enjoyed them. I knew you would.
It's been really cool.
Yeah. And he,
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I think he's such an amazing young guy. I mean, I think he's like 25 or 26 years old, and he's
I think he's in
produced
his
all this
30s.
stuff.
Because
Is he in
I've
his 30s now? Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
but still, he's got a lot of knowledge. I listened to him on
Yeah.
the podcast, like, wow, he's had these
Yeah,
really cool
he's
experiences.
produced a lot. I mean, there are a lot of people that do that work for at least 10 to 15 years before they produce an oracle deck.
Yeah.
And his is beautiful. It's really beautiful. I'm so glad you're enjoying it.
Thank you so much. I should probably let you guys get back to it, but I appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Send love to Jennifer when you see her, hey?
Say it again.
Send love to Jennifer.
I will.
Thank you.
Is your bread basket full, as Daddy would say?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, did you find the package?
Yeah, I took care of it. Thank you.
Thanks, Grace.
She's already upstairs. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's perfect.
It
We're getting
was
ready to leave.
perfect.
We're getting ready to leave to drive up to Michigan. And we're going to leave Monday the 5th. So I'm ordering all these things for travel. And then my flight from Michigan goes into DC. And I thought it was silly for me to do a layover in some podunk airport. I'll go and visit my siblings in Maryland and my
Great.
best friend from high school. So I'm going to make a little bit of a trip of that. But that flight, I don't have a carry-on. I only have a carry-on. I don't have a check bag. And so Heidi learned, and you know this, but Jesse, there's this way of packing that's pretty amazing. And like you have double duty for things. So we're ordering little things to make the packing easier. So that's what we're getting, quite a few packages, trying on pants. So I'll be wearing layers so I don't have to pack as many clothes. And so it's only the flight from Traverse City to DC. And then when I fly home, I'll fly Southwest from BWI back to Tampa, and then I can have a carry-on or 2 bags. So I'm going to pack a flat backpack that's like collapsible, you know, like real small, lightweight backpack was my second bag. And then I'll be able to not have to be so strategic about packing. So we've been trial packing. It's been an interesting journey. I learned a lot.
Denise getting ready to be the travel goddess.
That's right. I'm getting ready to travel, and then I'll be able to have this packed bag that I can just go to Toronto and go to Ireland and go to wherever. Just hop on a plane. I'll have all my creature comforts in one little bag. I got this spork, like that collapses to be about this big, so that can fit in one of my little in the fanny pouch. So it's just really funny because you know sometimes you'll like go to get a yogurt and want anything to eat it with. So
You're going to be all organized.
well, this woman's got 40 years of travel experience, so I'm leveraging the knowledge.
See, there's another thing of how to get from A to B.
That's right. There you go. Well, this is a big celebration day, so I don't want to take away from the big celebration. That's amazing progress, Jess. Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm complete with that. So I was glad that I could celebrate it with you.
Yeah. Thanks for keeping us in the loop.
Mm.
And, we-
Thanks for
got our
choosing it.
second- we got our second iteration of feedback and we're further refining. So I think if you're willing, I'll send you the slides as they're still in the
Yeah,
editing
send them
mode,
over.
but if you want to look at them, we
Love
were
to.
noodling.
Show me
the-
the webinar when you record one.
Yeah. Well, that's apparently been assigned to me.
Good.
So,
Good. Well, throw one down and send it over.
okay.
Best
Well, I'm
ways to
not
do
there yet. I
one.
don't-
Best ways to do one. If you've got a deck, you do have one.
Well-
Because then that's like the actual in it and speaking it will align with what you're trying to say, and you'll know where the improvements need to be. So it shortens your completion time.
Oh, okay. All right.
So do both. Do a quick video of it and do the short version of it. Yeah. I mean, or do the long one, your choice. But,
Mhm.
you can really practice the meat of this stuff and be like, all right, what's the meat of it? How do I flow? Because that's what we'll be listening for is how are the transitions? Where's the flow? Where's the trust? Where's the value? Because all of those will be places that you want to make sure you put the attention in.
Yes, thank you. Well, I guess the feedback we got was we have a little bit more work to do on our, what they call the training points, the wow not hows.
Yeah.
So that needs to be rewritten before I can record it.
Mhm.
Need to get,
Yeah. Incorporate the feedback. Yes.
yeah, because what we were doing is kind of just talking more general, and we've got to be more specific to, so we're learning, we're not marketers, so we're learning, and I'm grateful for, I really feel like we're getting closer. And a year ago, I wouldn't have known all of this. So I could definitely see value in what they're offering. So, and I feel there's integrity in what they're saying. So happy for that.
That's
Well,
fantastic.
it's almost top of the hour. I apologize. I was trying to fix vegan food while we were talking. So thank you for being patient.
Yeah, thank you for being here. No
My
worries.
pleasure. Great
Yeah.
to see you. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. Well, it's early.
Yes,
Yeah,
and I
it's
heard you're
okay.
doing an amazing job on the whatever you're calling your book. I don't know if it's a PDF or a book or whatever it is, but you're doing some awesome things on that as well. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we're having fun with it.
Okay,
All right. Bye, Jenny.
that's love.
Thank
Bye,
you. Thanks for
Jenny.
being here.
All right, bye.
Hi, you want to take a break?
Yes,
go?
I think would be good. I'll just take a quick bathroom break. I've got my tea.
Good. All right.
That's
Me
good
too.
for you? Okay,
Yeah, it works too. All right.
perfect. Okay, I'll see you now.
Okay.
Why is it?
All right. Well, let's just let's start with general, like in with this context, and I hadn't spent much time on it this week.
I also didn't manage all that much.
All right, good, perfect. What do we?
Okay, so I started the wobble, wiggle, giggle section.
Uh,
Do you want to go and look at that?
tell me about it.
Okay. So I started off first with what happens before the wobble, before you realize that you're in the wobble, what's happening. I spoke about that. I gave an example about from personal family experience. And the reason I went there was, it was when my mom had a stroke. And I mean, that was the thing in and of itself, but the thing that my brother was the most anxious about was that she was obviously highly depressed because she was paralyzed completely down the left. So I spoke about what is the most important thing that you can do for somebody that is in that state of complete overwhelm. And so for me, it wasn't just for my mum, but it was for my brother, because he was on the ground as the primary caretaker after, of course, all the medical staff, right? And the issue for me was about how do you facilitate somebody re-engaging with their own power. And I didn't elaborate on it all that much, but that was the point of it, you know. So I just spoke about that you are present. You don't come with solutions. You don't, you know, unless people ask. If people ask, then you can offer whatever it is that you've got to offer. But your most important function is to be present and supportive. And you do that so that there's space and people slowly, with that support. I mean, I didn't write about it like this, but you know, it always kind of, for me, I'd always thought that if you want people, or if you're trying to get people to experience something beyond themselves, in other words, to be able to experience what divine love is, they need to experience it through human love first. And it's very few people that can get to spiritual love without human love being there first. So in the same way, you are, if you're wanting somebody to re-engage with their will to live, that's re-engaging with their power. And then I went from that to the importance of presence. And in that is awareness. And then that if you don't know where you are, you're not going to get to your destination. So then I brought again in, what is it that you want? You know, and that was inherent as a caretaker for somebody who's in that state of overwhelm is, what can I do for you? And even just asking that question, what can I do for you? The person has to think about what they want.
Wonderful.
So it was those it's those subtle distinctions again, right?
Good. Now let me feedback what I heard. No,
Yeah.
it was like in the wobble, wiggle, giggle, wobble, wiggle, giggle, wobble, wiggle, giggle, and it's like thinking about the wobble. It's like the wobble happens when the carpet's pulled out from underneath you.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, what am I doing? It's ripped away. It's like something like the foundation in which we're standing on is
Yeah.
moved.
Yeah.
Wobble. And then it's like to notice, is it mine? Is it theirs? Or is it both of ours?
I didn't go there.
Usually it's both of ours. Usually it's both of ours, but sometimes it's just only theirs, their wobble. And sometimes it's our wobble. And I heard it was like, oh, that's his wobble. You had yours, but it was like in that example, it was like, oh, he has his. And then it was like, then you took the role of listening. You took the listener so that he could find his ground again, right? Find his ground, but he'd already wobbled, wiggled, is bringing the awareness to it. And then when he giggle, we know that the breakthrough happened. And not is it really the giggle's a metaphor for it, but we know that it's released. There's back on solid ground. You said it's like gave them into, it's like I asked the question that triggered them into, what is it that you want? Settled. That's what the wiggle does, is it begins to settle. Settle into the power.
Yeah. Because I gave the example of, after about 6 months, I ventured to ask my mum, said to her, Mum, are you okay enough for now? And her answer was, despite all the crying, she hadn't once felt alone. And that was big, because she was widowed by then. She was on her own. I mean, she and my dad didn't have a close emotional relationship either, so.
Beautiful is we never know what it is that is needed. And yet it can be honored after. It's like, oh, I am.
And the reason why that was such a huge relief, for me, and I can remember phoning my brother afterwards, and he can't talk on the phone. This is the brother that I asked about the other project, right? That said no.
Yeah, gotcha. For now.
Yeah, but I don't know with him. Anyway. I think it was unbelievably difficult for him, and luckily he didn't have to do it on his own, because he had my sister-in-law who was amazing with my mother, absolutely amazing. But he also, I said to him, Mars sounds just a little bit better. And he said, yes, I think she's got her will back.
Hmm.
And you know, so it was interesting for me. It was like everybody was in such shock about what had happened for her, because she had the heart attack. She was in ICU and she had this massive stroke. And then it was coming to terms with the fact that she wouldn't be able to walk again. And that was all, you know, terrible, but it was, does she have the will to carry on? And if she could have the will to carry on, she would be okay enough. And it's that thing that is so important, right? Because that's the ember. And if we don't have that inside of us, it's like you were talking or writing about, is there life in being alive? You know, so it brought that to mind again. And that's always that's the most important thing of anything.
Mhm.
Because if you've got that, then you've got space for coulds.
Good. Yeah.
If you don't have that, there's no space for could.
Mm-mm. And the music happens between the notes in the space.
Yep. The
And if there's
resonance.
no coulds, then it's just going to always be that same way.
Yeah.
Nothing new, nothing different,
Mm.
just the same.
Mm.
And if I always know, it'll be the same.
Yeah, and it's funny, you know, because we say that nothing new, but there is something new that happens, and it's not in the right direction.
Mm.
That's the
right.
difference,
Mhm.
right?
It is new situation that says, oh, compounds negative and compounds expanding positive and expanding negatives.
Yes,
They both happen, and it doesn't have to be,
that's right.
and it doesn't just always mean positive.
That's right. Yeah.
Just like we said earlier, it'll be a harder lesson to probably learn.
Yeah. Definitely.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So then, and then you'll see when you go with the, I think I'll start introducing it, is I say then, you know, this is where we can bring in the change triangle in terms of emotions. What are they? Emotional literacy, that's the term I'm looking for. Sorry. So I'll write that intertwining charge using that. And we'll see what what it results in, right? And then we'll go and clean it up.
Yeah. Mhm. Love it.
What was really interesting, Jess, with her triangle, and you'll see this, you'll recognize it when you look at it, just the diagram, is that she talks about the distractions that we use to take us away from experiencing that primary emotion, right? Those are the 2 points, your defenses and the secondary emotions. And your defenses are thoughts and actions. That's the acting out.
Yeah, it's that it's aware of that automatic, of that default, of that
Yes. Yes.
Because that every situation will be different where the rug is pulled out from underneath of you, whatever we think is the worst thing that's going to happen. And what we tend to find is that as we pay attention to the wounds, so again, it's like the wounding. We pay attention to the wounding, we'll find a consistent theme.
Mm.
When we're aware of that consistent theme, we can start to look for it and say, oh, is it this? And then what we'll do is we, like associations, bring in colors around it to start getting narrowed into, oh, that is my response to that. Oh, that is my response to this. That is my response to that. And that becomes a way to simplify the trigger and replace it.
Mm.
Wobble, wiggle, giggle.
Mm.
So like I figured it connected it into the gathering is same as the wobble.
Mm.
When we gather, we'll see the wobble, right? Gather, wobble, wiggle, breakthrough, wiggle, breakthrough, breakthrough, wiggle. So we get to a point where we can giggle and scatter, scatter, giggle and scatter. So it's like they also match together.
Mm.
Heavy to light, heavy, it's a heavy charge, it's a negative charge to a light charge, scattered.
Mm.
We're done with that one.
Mm.
Listening to it, is it mine, is it theirs, is it both of ours? And then speaking it, like there's a big component to speaking it as well.
Mm. It's a very big component. I mean, that's part of the research that they've done on therapy, after a long time. Does it work? Doesn't it work? And the neuropsych showed that it works because there's something that happens in the processing, right? When you can express it in your own language.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really, really important. There's something else that takes place. I think it's the observation.
In the observing, what's observing?
I think there's a little bit of observation that takes place when you talk about what's going on for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, there's observation with the feedback.
And what's the feedback?
The feedback, if it's the feedback is the person that you're talking to. So you're then listening to what gets fed back to you and you're integrating that.
Yes, great. That's together, right? If we don't do it together, if we do it by ourselves, that chatter mind can fill in with whatever it wants and doesn't hold you accountable. Is really like the key to it.
Yeah.
Like back in a conversation with someone, back and forth in it. What it is that when we say it out loud, then we test it. We're testing it. We are testing it. What we spoke out loud, we're testing it with well, does it line up? Does it not? Is it accurate? Isn't it?
Yeah.
And when we're not judging that, there's space in it.
Exactly.
And that's the feedback. That's and then there's that adjustment. Oh, why not? What is with that? It is how it works, I think.
It's why we are social beings.
Yep.
It's in our design.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. All right. Loved that. Let's see, what did I put on it? The happy knots. Hmm. So I'm thinking about the knots as a way to tie it into the charge as well. So it's the happy
Oh.
knots, right? They're knots that keep us stuck. They keep us oscillating. They keep us from flowing. So think of a knot in a rope is like the tension. That's why we can't, well, we're not. And so putting attention onto that. I guess so. The day that I did work on it, I put together I'd call it our introduction. Let's call it 5 lessons around what, like using the manual.
Oh, good. That's nice.
5 guided lessons, through it, working it, and taking these videos, right, posting them there, so they not only have that, but then they have something to work through with it.
Mm.
Post that on there so that somebody has somewhere to go.
Mm.
All aimed at the promise of the manual. Yeah. So I have lesson 1 is gathering the intentions and aligning the expectations. We'll move them. Basically what it's saying is like, look, here our promise is: move through your worst moments the same as your best. Break through reactions and choose your response, and replace not patterns with your genius pattern. Lesson 2 will be starting with your awareness. And we spoke about that, what your awareness is, the automatics, change, feeling it, listening to it. Next one will be breaking through these charges and associated thoughts, bringing in focus. Yeah, fort. We'll bring in fort to that, the wobble, relaxing into it and expanding the space possibilities. Lesson 4 is more into that expanding the awareness with the charges and noticing the knots, noticing where we're stuck, where we're not flowing, where the patterns came from, why they're keeping us from the genius, greatness, and gifts. Equal, valuable, and genius be the relationship that we'll be really focusing on the knots. And lesson 5 would be a completion, looking back at where we started, moving forward, so that you are move through your worst the same as your best. Break through reactions, choose your response, replace the knot patterns with your genius one, so that we're less reactive to the situation. Because you are always being charged.
So what I'm thinking about is I know you've already written about structure. But could that not, I'm just trying to think about how quickly it landed for me when Chris, the first time that I heard him talk about it, and how quickly it landed when I spoke to the coach. Remember I told you about that experience when I said to her, ask yourself whether you're in a problem-solving structure or whether you're in a creative structure. And
Mm.
without having to explain any of it, she had this huge light bulb go on.
Oh, great. Great.
So I'm thinking it could be really nice to bring that in as a basic question.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking at the end is actually better because we've gone through using all the terminology, all the steps, we've described all the steps, and at the end we summarize it
Mhm.
in terms of whether you're in that loop or whether you're in a breakthrough creative structure holding the tension.
That's great. Great.
The structure is a framework.
So
It's the skeleton. Everything else hangs off it. You can have the same issue, so you can have the same picture put in one frame as opposed to another, and it will look completely different.
perception.
Mhm.
Senses.
Mm.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Me too.
Thanks so much, Jeff.
Thank you. Thanks for working with. Have a good weekend.
Oh, well, thanks. And you too. Get back a little bit, right?
Oh yeah, I do. I will, and I'll check out those texts and videos, and I'll respond with it. And we'll continue our conversation.
Yeah. Great.
All
Thank you so much.
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy.
right.
I'm going to go and celebrate myself.
Do that for us both. All right. Thanks, Allison.
Bye.